back to the Daily Grind. Thanks for checking out the channel. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back pickle biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Mattheus Niccolau just handed Louis Smolka his fourth loss in a row, unfortunately for everybody like me that's rooting for UFC Hawaii. Even though, fortunately, you know, a lot of the other Hawaiians have been super successful. Yancy Medeiros, Brad Tavares, Max Holloway. So I think as far as the UFC going to Hawaii, this shouldn't have too much of an effect on that. You might be thinking, what the hell are you talking about? Well, if you didn't know, Louis Smolka is a Hawaiian fighter that's, you know, has been, that's why I kind of started rooting for his success, because back before he started this 4-fight losing streak, you know, was when Max blessed Holloway, who's been pushing for it for a while now. You know, is when I really noticed how much he was pushing for UFC Hawaii, and I was like, okay, so what we need is a bunch of Hawaiian fighters to just start being successful, and it was happening. So Louis Smolka was just one of those fighters that I was kind of rooting for, to see Max Holloway get that UFC Hawaii popping off. But with that being said, Louis Smolka has since went on like a 4-fight losing streak. Coming into this fight, he said he was battling with alcoholism, like he would get drunk like in his training camps and shit like that. He was coming into this fight with a six-pack, more shredded than he'd been in a long time. He was excited, but he was fighting a young stud, Mattheus Niccolau, who was just looked quicker than Louis Smolka in there, and he looked like, man, he hadn't been out for 18 months. You might be asking, who the fuck is Mattheus Niccolau? If you might have forgot, this is only his third fight in the UFC. He's been out for 18 months due to a USADA violation, but now he's back and he fought Mattheus Niccolau, or he fought Louis Smolka. Louis Smolka, you know, in the first round, Mattheus was landing he landed a big left hook that dropped Smolka, and it looked like, you know, a few times the fight might be over in this fight with some of the shots Mattheus was landing in the first round, because after Smolka got back to his feet, Niccolau landed another left-right, boom, or actually it was right-left, and dropped Smolka down again. In the first round, by the end of that, Louis Smolka had also been in a bad submission attempt, like it was a deep. Mattheus Niccolau had almost secured an arm triangle choke that Smolka, after being dropped multiple times, then he was in the arm triangle choke. He got out of the arm triangle choke, but then he got back up and got caught with a couple big shots. So the first round was definitely, maybe arguably a 10-8 from Mattheus Niccolau. 10-9, either way, it was a round for Mattheus. The second round, Louis Smolka did a good job of like evening out the total strikes landed, but Mattheus was still landing the bigger shots. It did look, to be fair, Mattheus might have been, I don't want to say gassing because he still had gas, but he was slowing down a little bit, I'll say, in the second round. But Louis Smolka was not really able to capitalize on it. But the thing about the second round is Louis Smolka did start to mix in a variety of kicks in the second round, which kind of threw Mattheus Niccolau off, which might have, you know, which is why the second round, it could have been a toss-up for Smolka or Niccolau. Niccolau landed the more significant strikes. Smolka landed probably the overall more number of strikes. But then we go to the third round, and you know Smolka has desperation because he's at least got to win this round, if not get a knockout in this round. So he was kind of like chasing Mattheus Niccolau around. He had a sense of urgency, but there just wasn't much success, as Niccolau was still just landing big shots in the third round. And so going into the decision, I had I keep calling him Nicholas because Mattheus Niccolau, that's such a hard name. I'm just going to keep saying Niccolau. Going in the third round, though, Niccolau looked like he had definitely slowed down, but he secured a trip. He also secured like a spear, another takedown. It looked like a fucking legit Goldberg spear in the third round. Boom, took his shit down. Talking about Louis Smolka's. So even though Niccolau had slowed down, he scored 2 takedowns. And when they got back to their feet, Smolka was kind of stalking Niccolau, but Niccolau was still landing shots. It wasn't like he wasn't having much success stalking Niccolau, even though he needed something big. The fight ended with Louis Smolka almost getting submitted again via rear naked choke this time. So yeah, Niccolau won this fight via unanimous decision. I think it was like 30-25, 30-26. It was pretty unanimous, one-sided. Mattheus Niccolau coming off of an 18-month layoff, looking really good. Moved to 3-0 in the octagon, and as I said, handed Louis Smolka his 4th loss in a row, unfortunately. We'll see what that means. The UFC might give him one more opportunity because it's looking like Dana White is working toward UFC Hawaii. In one of his scrums recently, he was making it sound like they're probably going to get it done with UFC Hawaii. So maybe they keep Louis Smolka around for that one last opportunity. He might get one last shot in the UFC. but he is on a 4-fight losing streak now, and it is what it is, man. In this fight, he definitely looked a little slower to the punch with Niccolau, but I'll be watching his next fight. With that being said, it is what it is. Let the full-time family know what the freak you time at in the comments. Mattheus Niccolau, winner by unanimous decision. I'm out.
Da 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 da! It's the motherfucking DOWG!